Content of the following program, including all statements from the hosts and guests, is to provide general information and commentary about the law. Under no circumstances does any statement made by the host or guest to a caller or listener constitute legal advice or the formation of an attorney-client relationship, and the material from this program shall not be viewed as substitute for a personal consultation with an attorney. Now, prepare yourself to be informed and entertained by Gus Bravo and Neil Kotze, two AV-rated trial lawyers who have been practicing law for a combined total of nearly 40 years. For the next 30 minutes, they will share their insight and commentary on important legal issues affecting all of us.
One day in the forest, a blind bunny rabbit bumps into a blind snake. And as they bump into one another, the rabbit says to the snake, "I'm blind. And I don't know what you are, but could you rub against me and tell me what I am? Because I don't know what I am either." And the snake says, "Wow, I'm blind too. It's funny we bumped into one another. Maybe we can do that for each other because I don't know what I am either." So the snake wraps himself around the bunny rabbit and feels him and says, "You're furry, you have long ears, a furry tail. I think you're a bunny rabbit." And the bunny rabbit says, thank you, Mr. Snake. Now I'll do the same for you." And he rubs up against the snake and he says, "You're slimy, you're cold, you have a forked tongue, no balls, and I can't tell your head from your butt. You must be a lawyer." Welcome to Attorney Confidential with Gus and Neil. I'm Neil Kotze.
And I'm Gus Bravo. You know, for running out of jokes, that's actually pretty good. I know you mentioned you're kind of getting low.
That was one I think I heard in 6th grade, so I'm having to go back into my memory banks for...
Well, you use some words that, you know, it's the G-rated version, I guess, if you will. Well, look, today, before we get into the meat of the show, I just want to pay a tribute to the one and only Miami Dolphins. I was actually one of the few poor souls that went to the game yesterday, and this is how I feel today. There's a picture up on the prompt of the Dolphins logo with a bag, a grocery paper bag over their head, because the reality, that was just an absolute stinker. I mean, we were getting ready to leave by halftime.
Yeah. As someone once said to me, some days you're the pigeon, and some days you're the statue. I think the Dolphins were the statue.
Oh, that was just awful. And the thing is, that they've spent so much money in renovating the stadium, but also on players. And, I mean, these are professional. I mean, I don't even think you see most high school football games, or let alone college, that there's such a disparity. It really looked like a professional team against a high school team.
So are we going to solicit the class action lawsuit for Dolphins season ticket holders?
I'll be first in line. You make one, and you know, that's a very good cue to what our show is going to be here today, because the thing is, frankly, we were so busy over the weekend that we really didn't follow up on any major legal news, and don't appear to be any major legal news, at least none that were worth talking about. So we decided to call this show, appropriately enough, the Shameless Plug Show. Now, don't play on the words, shameless plug. It literally means we're going to talk about ourselves, talk about our practice, and I'm not going to solicit people, but we're going to encourage personal consultations, because at the beginning of the show, I said, the opinions expressed in the show are not a substitute for personal I think it's a substitute for a personal consultation with an attorney. So what we want in the Shameless Plug is to tell you why you should call us and have that personal consultation.
So if you don't want to hear that, now would be a really good time to call 1-888-565-1470 to talk about something substantive.
Right. Otherwise, it's going to be nothing but shameless plug here today. So along those lines, you know, I'll pass the baton to you.
Because during the middle part of the show, when we talk about ourselves, mine's at least twice as long as yours.
Your Schwartz is bigger than mine. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I set that up nicely.
We're watching Spaceballs this weekend, and I said, you know, the older you get, the funnier some of the jokes become, because, you know.
I think it's a circle of life. When you're a kid, you love potty humor. Then you get to that point when you're in college and getting a little bit older where you think it's juvenile. And then you get to your 40s and even 50s and you start to find it funny again.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm in that phase of my life where I've always been a Mel Brooks fan anyway. But
so you were talking about why yours is twice as long as mine. Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, well, because I've been practicing almost twice as long as you. How long you've been practicing now for?
I graduated in 2001, passed the bar in 2002.
So you've been 14 years, I'm 25.
Yeah.
So not twice as long. My math isn't that bad, but
Close
almost. But no, I mean, one of the things that Gus and I were talking about is we haven't spent a lot of time talking about the areas that we practice.
Right.
We have primarily an employment-related practice is the area that seems to be booming right now and keeping us the most busy. But generally, we're just trial lawyers, and I think we've handled a little bit of everything. And that's one of the things I enjoyed about earlier in my career was getting to try some very complex cases. I'm happiest in a courtroom.
Yeah, there's a movement towards specialists or specialties, as we talked about before in the show. You know, we have had for different reasons. I mean, I've been on my own since 2009, and since then, I mean, we started at Carlton Fields. Well, you started at Womble Carlisle.
Actually, I started at Constantia.
So you're a lot older than I am. And so you and I met at Carlton Fields in Miami, and we were in the Products Liability Torts Practice Group. So we had a lot of the company type cases, and that's where you were in the courtroom and me in the storage room, going through the files. But listen, you got to roll up your sleeves.
You carried a good briefcase, guys.
I certainly did. Mine on the other side. Exactly. But I think what that did, it taught me at least to, you know, the devil is indeed in the details. And so many of the cases, yes, they're won by the presentation, but because so few cases actually go to trial, let alone see the conclusion of a trial, it gets resolved before, and really it lies in the facts and being able who masters the facts best.
Exactly. That was one of the advantages of representing the tobacco industry for all those people out there who hate me now for hearing that, if you hadn't already heard that.
Shameless plug, come on.
Exactly. But we never settled cases, so you get to try some very complex cases. And again, I've told this story. I mean, since leaving the tobacco industry, I've been able to do a lot of good things for people that are suing big corporations because I had the benefit of learning how the big corporations think.
Right.
And so what goes around comes around. And so now I've had that benefit. In fact, we've talked about my case for autistic children that I won back in 2012, and I actually was able to say to the judge in closing argument that the state's denial of benefits for autistic children was based on a scientific principle that was similar to what the tobacco industry used to claim that smoking didn't cause lung cancer.
Right.
And so my ability to analyze the toxicology and epidemiology studies representing the bad guys, when I cross-examined the state's witnesses, it was a benefit. So, like I said,
folks,
it goes right
888-565-1470. It's just getting nauseating hearing about Neil. No, I'll keep this aside.
Tell us what your favorite case is.
Along the shameless plug theme, Neil, the offices in Miami-Dade and Broward County. Give them the Miami-Dade number. It's 786-464-0841. Right. And then we're also in Plantation, 954-790-6711. Right. Now, we have, the separate but equal, like they say in Spanish, juntos pero no revueltos, which means together but not mixed. We have our separate PAs, but we work together on a lot of majority of the cases.
I've heard you describe us as friends with benefits, but I guess that's not the...
I didn't want to say that. I know you didn't. That's why. Neil Kotze is the one that said that. But yeah, so that's where you can reach us. Obviously, you can call in the show now and have questions, but we take the time to sit down with folks and go walk them through all legal problems.
Because Gus and I, as we've talked about before, we have our own separate firms, but we practice a lot together. When we were at Carlton Fields, we almost tried a case together, the missing ladder case.
Yes,
spoliation, which was a lot of fun. Right. Where the guy that fell off the ladder and had some serious brain injuries.
That wasn't the lot of fun part. No,
that was not the lot of fun part. But it was a very challenging case. But
yeah, to build up on the theme of shameless plug, one of the things that I enjoy about the practice of law is that, frankly, even though cases tend to be similar, they always present unique set of facts, unique set of players. You never get one case that's the same. You can have the same type of issue, the same type of defendant, different plaintiffs, different judge, different opposing counsel, and so there always be different dynamics. One of the things that I enjoy about our practice now, as opposed to before, when we were defending the big, companies in the bet the company type cases, is that, when I would sit across the table at a deposition and asking, the father of a girl who died in a car accident, or the mother and stuff, and have to probe into all these questions about, try to mitigate the damages. And at the end, I would always apologize, saying, I'm sorry, I'm just doing my job. I felt in my heart that I was on the wrong side of the coin. And so now, today we had an example, not going to name names, but where we were helping somebody, and they said to us, you're our last resort, right? Thank you for what you've done. We don't know what we would have done without you guys. And so to get on that side of the fence, it's pulls at the heartstrings.
It's much more rewarding.
But it is much more rewarding. And I think the one thing that I enjoy is the personal relationship you develop with clients. Because clients have my cell phone. They call me all different times of the day and weekends even. But you kind of
emphasize. Gus's cell phone number is
786. But I think the idea is you develop that personal relationship with people. It's not just about a business. We're their consultants, right? They're going through a divorce. They call me and say, they know I don't do that, but hey, walk me through it.
And we've still, in fairness, we've still been occasionally still called by the big corporations that knew us from before, that were referred to us to represent them every now and then. But we didn't have the luxury or the joy of being able to do that when we were at a big firm. But you told a story that reminded me of one of my funny stories I don't think I've told on the show, is you were talking about taking a deposition of a father or mother, that you have to ask them the tough questions. I'll never forget taking a deposition of a son. His father, still alive, had oral cancer, and he claimed it was caused by his cigarette smoking, which is a very common cause of oral cancer.
Right.
But one of the other common causes of oral cancer is the human papillomavirus, HPV, which, for those of you that may not know what HPV is, you get it from sexual activity. So this plaintiff happened to live in Vegas, and we had learned through interviews of friends and family that he was very promiscuous. So during the deposition of his son, who lived with him for a period of time, I actually had to ask the son about his father's sexual activity. And I will never, as long as I live, forget the answer, because I said, I'd like you to tell me if you recall how many sexual partners your father's had while you lived with him. And he actually looked at me and said, do you want me to tell you about the ones he's paid for or the others? Let's start with the ones. And then he'd say, well, and some of them, he would do favors for them and still get it for free.
So in kind.
In kind, yeah. Talk about friends with benefits, but which was, for that case, because where else are you going to get HPV but from sleeping with prostitutes? So it was an interesting factual development in the case.
That reminds me, I had a case... I think where there was some type of product that was used for female surgeries, let's just call it, and we were representing a very large company who had manufactured this product, and this product was eventually pulled from the market. And so a lot of women filed a class action, and so in bringing a class action, and obviously they were going through pains and a lot of painful procedures, they always bring a claim on behalf of the husbands too. It's called the loss of consortium. I know I'm not telling you anything you don't want, you don't already know, but for the few folks that are listening to this shameless plug show. And so the husband's loss of consortium is essentially, hey, I've lost the assistance of service of my wife. And so naturally a question you would ask is, I hate to say it, have you ever had an affair? It's a simple, straightforward question. Now, I asked the husband, they were from Arkansas. I asked the husband, have you ever had an affair? His wife's sitting right next to him. He looks at me and he says, do I have to answer that? And I just paused. I said, I think you just did. And I'm thinking to myself, look, I know you're under oath. I know you're under oath. I know it's being recorded. But there may be a higher power involved here. No one's going to blame you for maybe slightly perjuring yourself on that answer. Needless to say, the lawyer at that point, because the wife just stood up and stormed out of the room. Apparently, that was the first time this had been disclosed to her, or maybe confirmed. And so they became this whole thing, and then the lawyer's trying to say, you're harassing him, how you ask these questions. It's like they put that at issue.
Of course. We had a loss of consortium case. The couple was in their 80s, and you have to ask, So, how frequently did you have sex prior to this
We
injury?
had one where the wife, she injured her hand. And so we had to go through how did that affect it. So anyway, listen, we enjoy what we do. Clearly, I think the idea is look, we've gotten better over the years, I think, of taking on the cases that we believe in. I think that's one of the perks of having your own operation, being on your own, so to speak, where, when we work for the bigger firms, I hate to say it, that's, hey, someone's willing to pay those fees and someone's, financial future's at stake, Fortune 100, 200, whatever have you. I don't care what your feelings are about them. They're a paying client. You go defend them, right? And a lot of times, obviously, I'm not saying about your tobacco experience, but let's just say, it's hard to be in on that side. Whereas on our side, we feel victims and entrepreneurs is what we like to say, right? We're helping those victims, whether it's a labor and employment claim, which is primarily, I think, what we're focusing on, personal injury claims, consumer claims, and then, but also the entrepreneurs like us. Folks that are started their own business, obviously have to comply with the laws.
Right, because, one of the things, in some ways, the biggest luxury we have is that we don't have to charge the rates. And when I was at Carlton Fields, in fact, if I were still at Carlton Fields, I'd probably be billing close to $600 an hour right now. And I would be seeing much less than $600 an hour in my own pocket.
Yes.
Now, we can bill clients at substantially less than that.
But we don't have that overhead and those marble walls.
The quality of our work hasn't changed. But, if you're charging a client now $400 an hour, which I know out there still sounds like a lot of money,
right.
but that is a lawyer that was getting $600.
And the beauty of it is, so as we're shifting more towards labor and employment claims, and we represent both the employer and the employee.
Right.
Although, like we like to joke around, especially with some of our employer clients, listen, we'd rather be on the side of the employee because the law is just so one-sided in a lot of ways in favor of the employee.
Right. If there's anybody out there listening that works more than 40 hours a week and is not being paid overtime, that is, the Fair Labor Standards Act is legalized extortion.
Yes.
It really is for the plaintiffs. If you're out there and you are working more than 40 hours a week, and even if you're paid salary, you might still be entitled to overtime. So you need to reach out, if not us, somebody else, but that's an area that we do a lot of.
Correct.
Because it's an automatic, you get that settled quickly because it's fees. If you have a case, for example, as a lawyer, and I've defended these, and I tell my clients, settle, settle, settle. If you owe somebody just $1,000, and I'm not trying to minimize, $1,000 is a lot of money, but if you owe somebody unpaid overtime $1,000, if you want to fight them because they want $1,500 and you really only owe them $1,000, you got to pay them the $1,500 because if you fight them on that case, even if you end up only paying $1,000, you're going to end up paying their legal fees, which could be $50,000.
Plus, you have to pay your own lawyer.
Right, and pay your own lawyer. So, at some level, there are ways to protect yourself if the demand is way high. But if the demand is not much different from what's owed, it's legalized extortion.
It is.
It really is.
And it's a difficult discussion we tend to have on the defense side with our clients and say, well, why should I pay them? It doesn't matter. At some point, it's the economics of the case. Well, it should really always be the economics of the case. But because the onus is on the employer to keep records, to keep appropriate, accurate records, if they fail to do that, even if they don't, even if they've kept records, eventually, if the other side's willing to go and testify and say, look, no, I worked more hours than are reflected on there, at some point, it's not worthwhile exercise to keep fighting that. And so absolutely, those are cases, and on the employee side, it's not only do you not have to pay for your lawyer because your lawyer will be willing to take it on a contingency, but unlike a personal injury where the lawyer is going to take a percentage of your recovery, here, because it's fee shifting, because the employer has to pay for the fees, you can probably get, depends on the setup and depends on the recovery, most of the fees paid by the other side, by the employer. And so you almost get not only 100 cents on the dollar because they have liquidated damages,
right, you can double your damages,
double your recovery. So it is to quote Neil Kotze, legalized extortion. If you remember anything from this shameless plug show,
it is. I mean,
legalized extortion.
And when you're on the defense side, you hate it. When you're on the plaintiff side, now we'll say Gus and I do it the right way. If our clients only owed $1,000, I'm sorry, we're not going to ask for $1,500. We're going to ask for the $1,000.
Well, there's a
but it's doubled to $2,000. So you actually do get more than you're entitled to legally. The law allows that.
Correct. And what's the logic behind it? If you think it makes sense, if they didn't do that. Right, then what's the incentive for the employer to actually pay the wages when they're owed?
Right.
There's
certain areas of the law that the legislators recognize that people's rights would not be protected if the law didn't allow the plaintiff to collect attorney's fees when they prevail.
Right.
Because some cases, like the example of unpaid overtime, I've had cases where the person was only unpaid $200, but they're a minimum wage earner. $200 is a lot of money to them.
Absolutely.
And so you should be able to go in, get them their $200 without much effort, and they get what they deserve, and you don't get a lot in fees.
Right.
If the defendant is smart, you'll get your hour or 2 hours for the negotiation, and that's it. But the client's happy, you're happy, and everybody gets what they deserve.
And the law is set up in a way where, recognizing that, borrowing on that $200 example, that person may not have the resources to go out and hire a lawyer. So the law was made in such a way that they don't have to. I mean, they can retain a counsel, have the other side, the employer, pay for the fees, and they're able to recover their money. Again, listen, we try to do it the right way. We're not going to sit there and just take what people say at face value. We want records. We want to go through, and what's fair is fair, because we've been on the other side as well. And we do represent employers as well. And from the employer's perspective, there are steps you can take to try to mitigate those damages, to try to mitigate those claims. I mean, don't get cute with the 1099 versus W-2.
Oh.
Okay? I mean, just because, your friend has done it all these years and that's the way it's always worked.
Right, and then that's the advantage of both Gus and I representing employees and employers. It keeps our minds fresh as to what the current standards and thought processes are. And we've successfully done audits for employers, advising them on how to comply with the law, and going in and saying, look, here's what you need to do. Here's how you structure your overtime. Here's how you protect yourself from a lawsuit. You can never prevent people from suing you, but you can minimize their chance of prevailing if you do it the right way.
Right. Absolutely, and I think especially if you show you've done things the right way and you've tried to follow the law, there are exceptions. There are things in the law that allow the court to take that into consideration and say, look, they relied on a good faith opinion of a lawyer. They relied on a reasonable application of the law. They took all the reasonable steps in order to protect us. So again, but like you said, there's no guarantee that you're not going to get sued, because we always laugh at the question, can I get sued?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Of course you can.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that prevents you from getting sued. The law has tools that can minimize that risk. If it's a frivolous lawsuit, the law gives you tools to maybe get some of your fees back. But unfortunately, the standard for what's a frivolous lawsuit is so high that 9 times out of 10, you're just going to have to pay an attorney to defend you, and you just hope that the attorney doesn't take advantage and does it the right way and cost-effective way.
And the people, listening as well, understand that your work status or your legal status, because I don't think I can go in a show without mentioning Trump. It is what it is. Don't be fearful of the fact that you don't have papers, or that you may not be a legal resident, or you may not even have a right to work. That does not come into play when you're talking about labor and employment claims. You had a smirk there for a second. I think that I can see the wheels turning. But the reality is that we've handled cases against employees who did not have papers, and you can't. There's retaliations. There's all sorts of things that an employer cannot do. So if there's under most circumstances, especially particularly mid-sized large employer, overtime, minimum wage. These are things that need to be mindful of. We have a few minutes left, okay? Continuing on our shameless plug theme, why don't you give the folks your website so they can see your highly elongated and somewhat, I don't know why we describe your bio, but...
It's not...
So
I like highly elongated, but that's a whole. I like the sound of that. When referring to me, there's a whole different definition of shameless plug.
I'm going to take that clip and cut it out.
Oh no, like a Lorena Bobbitt come up. Anyway, it's I almost you've taught me. I wasn't going to say the www because that's unnecessary.
Yes.
It's ndcodsilaw.com, ndkodsilaw.com.
Okay, mine's simple. It's Law Bravo. And it's Law Bravo because some other guy took Bravo Law. So I did something very creative. I switched it. You see what I did there? Very creative. So I think we have 2 minutes left, right? Yeah, perfect. 2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
So wonderful. Look, so why don't you give us a recap of the Shameless Plug show? But don't plug yourself completely.
All right. The recap is when thinking about hiring a lawyer, one of the things Gus and I have not talked about is what we do. I mean, one of the areas right now, if you're looking for someone in employment, that's an area that we do a lot of. We do any type of civil litigation. But the one thing I'll tell everybody listening, if you work more than 40 hours a week and you're not getting overtime, pick up the phone and call somebody.
Yeah.
Feel free to call us. 786-464-0841.
954-790-6711.
But if you're working more than 40 hours a week and not getting overtime, at least find out whether you're entitled to that because it adds up fast.
And the last thing I'll say before we have the closing thought picture come up is picking a lawyer is like picking a doctor. It's a personal relationship. Make sure you meet the person, go to their office, sit down. You have to feel comfortable with that person. Okay? And we'll have the closing thought of the day. And this is titled Advice from a Tree. Stand tall and proud. Go out on a limb. Remember your roots. Drink plenty of water. Be content with your natural beauty. And above all, enjoy the view. I think it's great tips.
I like that.
Attorney Confidential with Gus and Neil. Tune in next week where maybe
we'll have some more plugging.
or maybe I'll just leave it at that. I think you get the last word.
Yeah, exactly. Good night, everybody.
You have been listening to Attorney Confidential with Gus Bravo and Neil Kotze, two rated AV trial attorneys with over 40 years of experience. Tune in next week for another episode of entertainment, insight, and just plain fun. That's Monday, 6 p.m. on WNN, 1470 AM. See you next Monday for more Attorney Confidential.